Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30, and we're going to begin because I made a promise last year, I believe it was, that we would always take into consideration that our staff have been here since 7:30. So anytime that they're presenting, we try to get them out first so they can go home to their families. So we're going to begin with our board workshop. The first informational item we have on the workshop is the 2026-2027 Professional Development Plan.
Welcome, Dr. Stoll and Ms. Robertson.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Poliski.
Yes, ma'am.
We are really excited to be here tonight because we are going to talk to you about professional development. And as I do that, I want to introduce my colleague who last time I couldn't get her name right and work with her every day, Sarah Robertson, who is really, this has nothing to do with her job, but she just stepped up and chaired this committee. So that's why she is here with me. Sarah, will you click for me? So what we're going to do tonight is just give you an overview of what our 26-27 professional development is going to look like. And I want to acknowledge all the people that are on this committee. I'm not going to read those names to you, but we have people from classified, certified, paras, coaches. We wanted to get a wide variety of people because we did a climate and culture survey, and we've talked to Dr. P's teacher advisory board, had given him some things, and PD just wasn't hitting the mark for people. So some people were in PD they didn't need or they didn't like, and so we wanted to get a wide variety of jobs and classes so that we could really get some good PD. And with all the PD days coming on the beginning of the calendar this year in August, we wanted to get those lined out and ready to go. So my colleague, Sarah Robertson, kind of got voluntold, but she did volunteer to chair this committee, but she had a lot of great ideas about how we were going to make this better. So I'm going to turn it over to her and just let her really quickly go over the highlights.
Hey, y'all, I'm going to just do a quick overview, and then you can ask any questions. I'm not going to read the slides. So we have 3 pieces of feedback that we looked at when building out this. The first was our employee feedback. Then we did a family and parent engagement survey, as well as just our district priorities. 3 things kind of bubbled to the top. This idea of agency, so having folks be able to make decisions, really focusing on behavior in the classroom and outside of the classroom, communication, and then just kind of this overall idea that clarity is kindness. So the clearer we can be, the kinder we can be to folks. We are retiring the idea of sit and get, where people just sit and get information. We really want folks to be able to learn. We are lucky that we are working with adults and their frontal lobes are fully developed. And so we are doing our very best to make sure that we are thinking about adult learning when doing these. These are the days that we're doing. One of the things that we are bringing back is this idea of a conference for everybody that is on contract as of the 3rd. We're calling it the Blueprint Conference. And our theme of that is foundation. We know that we have a foundation and some of it's really firm, but some of it needs to be reinforced. And so we are currently doing requests for proposals across the district for anyone who wants to do a presentation that's based on agency, behavior, or communication. We're hoping to have over 30 teachers, staff, and others do those. The other thing I want to highlight here is on August 10th, we're doing a paraprofessional academy where we will do a conference just for the paraprofessionals, elevating their learning and really trying to be as focused as possible with their learning because they have such a big job to do. That doesn't mean we're not doing all of the core curriculum, so we're working with curriculum coordinators on those, and they can talk to you more about that. And that is kind of the high-level overview.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Taylor, do you have any questions for Ms. Scott?
Will you guys do exit surveys on like getting feedback after the sessions? How does that normally work?
Thank you for asking. So that's not something that I saw from last year. I wasn't part of the planning process, but one of the things that we'll be doing is a quick exit survey of sessions as well as the overall. And I'm looking currently for a platform that we can just do that by text, so as easy as possible. But we want to be able to make sure that we get that data, and then the committee is focused on the entire year of learning so that we can make and adapt changes as we go.
Okay. And then one more question. So on the parent engagement survey, how many responses did you get? Do you know? Like, was it substantial or?
388 responses from all of the schools. I've presented on that, and I'm happy to share some of that data with you. And we're using that to just really inform all the decisions that we're making. So one of the biggest pieces from the parent survey was communication. The district gives a lot of communication, but they're really looking for specific communication from teachers.
Yep.
And so that's one of the things that we want to focus on is getting parents the communication that they're searching for, which is how can I help my student be better in school, and what are the main priorities?
Thank you.
You had me at clarity is kindness. You had me at no more sit and get. I've done plenty of those. You had me at daily pulse surveys and end-of-day deliverables. Immediate feedback rocks and lets you modify for the next go-around. So this is awesome. I love this. Your committee did a great job, and kudos to both of y'all because your little motto here, built by us, for us, is great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ms. Temple?
Just ditto. Good job.
Thank you.
No questions I have. So it's all good.
Well, they asked mine, but I do have one. What is NIS?
That is a network instructional specialist. So in the old days, that's like a coach in the
Oh,
building.
okay. I told you I did the acronym.
They're our building level coaches that coach the teachers.
I looked straight to the educator. I was like,
It's what again?
Network instructional specialist. I'm sorry, we are really bad about using a lot of acronyms.
one of the things we're going to do is create an appendix of all the acronyms for our staff, and we'll give you all a copy as well.
Awesome, thank you.
And I'll add as a trainer as well. I think the setup is great. I really like the setup. Might even drop in a few.
Yeah.
All of you are
love
welcome.
training.
We'd
Yeah,
love
come
to
on.
have you.
Sure.
Yeah.
The only thing I have is I love the fact that you are diverse with the group and picking the people. Other than that, great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
I think I'm the next one again, so I'm just going to stay.
The 2026-2027 Parent-Student Handbook.
Welcome, Ms. Randall.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Poliski, you know who I am, Dr. Stoll. And I have Tiffany Randall, Coordinator of Student-Centered Support Services. And again, we're not going to read slides to you. We're trying to give y'all the benefit to look over all of this ahead of time and then ask us any questions, and I'll let Ms. Randall hit on anything you need to.
Well, we've had the handbook.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. So we'll start the other way. Ms.
Okay.
Barker, do you have any questions about the handbook?
Trying to get back to it, but my email is CT, Marcus CT.
Okay, CT,
So I
okay.
did see that. That's
There are
all.
some edits in the actual draft. That's why we labeled it as draft. I've been reading it and working on the grammar and the revising and editing of it. As far as the context's correct.
I did look at the, what is this called? Progression for addressing concerns and issues. So in athletic, the concern would stop with the chief, or does it go to the chief, to you, Dr. Paluski?
Ms. Barker, put a mic
Oh.
so the people on the internet can hear you.
And are you referring to like the organizational chart on
Yeah,
who to
it
contact?
just-
Okay.
Most of them stopped. The fourth contact was the superintendent, but under athletic, the fourth contact was chief of staff. That was on a couple, well, maybe two of them. It just was getting a clarification on, would they go to you?
Sure, it just, yeah, and Colonel Steiner right now, which oversees, operations, but even though I've got Coach Ballon that now reports to me, just another level to be able to solve a problem before, and hopefully, as we've talked about, that we try to solve problems closest to where they happen, but if something happens and it's not addressed properly or there's a concern, just to be able to move it forward.
So the final will go to you?
Mhm. Yes,
Yes, okay. I had some other notes, but you came to me too fast. Sorry.
I'll come back.
Okay.
Mr. Newsom.
When we're talking about the intervention of nicotine dependence with this? Does this include all vapes? Because they're flavored.
Don't
well,
forget
I
to
keep
talk in the
saying
mic.
things, don't I? Sorry.
We think we in.
Hi. Does that work better?
Yes.
When we're talking about vapes, is this just nicotine vapes? Because there are vapes out there that are flavored vapes that have no nicotine. So if a student is caught vaping at all, do they go through this program? And can you give me some, is this like a Scared Straight type program, or what kind of program is this to, here's your lungs,
Okay, it was,
don't want this?
I'm actually the one that was trained that would be leading this program. So it is for their first time they're caught vaping, and it is just for nicotine and tobacco products. That's what it's geared towards. And it is a prevention type program to try to help teach them all of the harmful effects. And then if they make a decision that, like they say at the end of the 4 sessions, that they're actually addicted and they can't stop, there is a cessation program that accompanies that. That one has to be a choice, though, because we all know you can't quit unless you want to. And so this is just to go through and teach them, because what we're finding with a lot of the students is it just looks cool, it's fun, it has all these flavors, it has, they don't understand the harmful effects and what it can do to their body, and that some children are even dying from this. And so it's just really to teach them the facts about how it will harm their body, and it would be mandatory. That would be your consequence for your first time, so that way we can give you this information, and then if you go forward after that, you can't say you didn't know. And so we did, I pulled the data. So far this year we've had 75 students at the high school that this would have been their first time. We could have done this program with them and hopefully save their lives and their health. And like I said, I'm the one that was trained on it, and my training's good for 3 years, and so I can lead the program.
Appreciate your answers. Thank you.
Miss Temple?
I just want to say thank you again for cleaning this up. It looks so nice, and having it in such good shape when you bring it to us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Miss McLean?
I was just going to ask, I know you're going to teach the 4 sessions, but when will you be getting those students to do that?
After school, it'll have to be on their time. So that's their, there's going to have to be some, getting with parents and things like that, but there's got to be some kind of uncomfortableness with it, because you're the one that has made this choice, and so it would be after school. Right after school, I would just come over and teach it at whatever campus they were at, like 1 to 2 times a week for the 4 sessions until they complete them.
Right. I'll just reiterate what Ms. Temple just said. The handbook looks great, and I'm trying to think when you started on it last year or the year before.
Last year, just
You
last year.
sat outside our
yeah.
office and helped her. You
It
were a
was
big
like
help.
You helped
200
me.
pages
Yeah.
or something. I mean, and now it's down to something very manageable and very direct, and I like it a lot. Y'all did a great job.
Yeah, and as we update the policies, we are getting a lot of policy updates. So if you click on the link, it's going to take you to the old policy until we get it linked, but that link won't change. And so it's interactive, and that way, anytime we make an update, it's automatically updated.
Miss Scott?
My questions were just around graduation. I saw that we added some language for tickets at graduation, but didn't specify like how many tickets. Is there a reason that we're doing that?
And that's based off of how many students and then the
Okay.
seats. So we can't put a number to it because it'll vary based on the population of students graduating. So they'll
Okay.
take how many seats are at Euler at the stadium,
Yeah.
the arena, and then they'll divide that by how many students,
been
and that's
either
how many tickets.
Six or 8
Okay.
per family.
Yeah. So we can't put a number to that.
And then on the participation in graduation, there was something added around like all graduation requirements have been met in addition to the credit requirements. What does that include?
So, for an example, that might
Yeah.
include community service, which is a part of that as well, of a
Okay.
graduation requirement that they're required to do. So, the board and the superintendent then have to certify that every child that we're going to give a diploma to has met all the requirements for graduation by law.
Okay.
And the policy from the last meeting, there's one for the graduating class of 2027
Okay.
and 2026, because there's different requirements. And that's one of the ones that just came to you to be updated, and that's for everybody 2027 and after. So that, those requirements, if you want to know those specifics, they're in that policy.
And why are they changing, I guess, graduation requirements?
Sure, part of that is, it's under the LEARNS Act.
Okay.
Which is a major driver to that. And then if you dig into deeper, when you get into how high schools now are, their grades are calculated, there's a success ready indicator. And so a lot of that is clarifying concurrent credit, advanced placement, those kinds of things based upon the changes in the law.
Okay. I'll add that to my law list.
It's a lengthy one.
Any more questions, Ms. Scott?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Taylor? We'll come back to you. There you go.
Thank you. It's just a few.
Okay.
It's just something that kind of hit me most, as a parent. On the graduation, it referenced if a student passes before the graduation, if they pass before March the 1st, I think it said, the family would not get their diploma. It was some kind of language.
That's all law, so I'm not sure about that. I would have to look into that. That's
Yeah,
all.
because I thought just the sentimental piece of that, just the consideration on that. And I think you said earlier that
We'll take a look at it.
there's going to be some corrections, because when I went to some of the links, and it may go back to something you spoke on, Mr. Stanger, about policy updates. Some of them were real old.
They are. Yeah, so
And-
the policy, if they're on board docs right now,
Right,
and we're
I looked
switching
at
to the
them.
new platform,
Mhm.
some of our, that's why we're doing the policy update, because there's so
Yeah,
many
'cause
that needed to be updated.
There was one specific to the parent plan. I know you're going to probably update that because it's
Yes.
still 24, 25, the one I wrote. The other thing was I asked. I saw that parents would acknowledge that they received the handbook during registration. And I know, how parents will say when something happens, they didn't see that. Just thinking about it, under that, if we could do, how when you apply for something and you have to initial certain sections, I just thought that might be a good proactive thing for us. Dress code, you have to initial that you saw that, prior to just saying I saw the book. So just to ask, just something to add to that as a proactive measure. So if those things come up, a parent signature as well as their initials are on specific parts that we know we see a lot. So just thought that, and I also want to tell you the cover is beautiful.
That
'Cause
is
it says
Dustin and Brooke, I think Brooke
pre-kindergarten.
made it, yeah.
Pre-K is on there, so. But those are the things I have, but I really like that ask because I've seen that where we get into situations where they didn't.
So if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Randall, to that question, when we do the registration, the rollover, where they have to update their address change, I think there's a box in there that they have to, when they
I think
check
right now it's a
that,
check mark, yes.
right, that says I've reviewed, or, so we have that document.
Right, it says I reviewed the handbook. I'm just saying identify specific sections as well. Initial in it.
Okay. you're
I
not
can show
in
you what
that,
I'm talking about. Like I just did something, I had to say I read the sexual assault piece. I read this. I had to initial those before my final check was that I saw all of it.
Okay.
Because what happens in being proactive and reactive, a parent will sit there and say, I never saw that. And we're just saying you saw the handbook, but we're holding them accountable to say you saw the dress code, you saw this, things that schools are dealing with. So it's just a proactive. We can leave it like it is, but we'll deal with it later.
Okay.
So I just think it's just a proactive move. It's nothing extra, just a couple of sections where their initial goes prior to the signature.
Okay.
I'm not new to it, I've seen it.
Yeah. You wanted to explain about the policies? or-
That part, that makes sense. Just, you're talking specific sections,
Yeah.
not the whole
Not the whole book.
handbook.
Not the whole
But
book.
the
that
Dress-
would be-
ones-
yeah.
Yeah.
No, and
just the ones that
Graduation,
we know
dress
that
code.
they will be coming before us for and complaining about.
Hearings.
Yeah.
Yes, and it might be pertinent to different campuses because graduation requirements, especially when they
Right.
enter ninth grade, it might be something separate we could do at each campus. And we do have a way to do like online virtual forms and where it doesn't have to be paper and things
Love
like
it.
that.
It's just protecting them. It's just proactive. That's all.
Yes.
Was
Good feedback.
was there something else on the handbook?
No, I didn't,
No,
the
that's all.
policy question, I didn't know if he needed.
No, I
to-
was
No,
just-
it's just in
Ma-
case.
I just referenced he spoke to policies
Okay.
the last
Yeah.
time, and that may be something that will be updated later.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Other than that, great report. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're stay on up there.
Second to,
Third grade
Still me.
retention plan.
I'm gonna grab my notes really quick, because I wanna make sure if y'all ask me a question, I have all my notes. And ask my colleague, Miss Langston, to come forward.
look at that trophy.
Looky.
Reading champ.
Okay, we're gonna keep this one brief as well, because we have been talking about third grade retention. I'm sorry for new board members, y'all haven't heard all of these things, but we've been giving you the information about third grade retention the whole time. So you have the slide presentation. We're not gonna read the slides to you. The main thing tonight is we want to talk to you about, we had to have a plan with the State Department of Education. We sat in a meeting, Dr. Paluski, myself, Mrs. Langston, and Archford, to get our plan for intercession approved. So that is what we're asking tonight. It has been approved by the state and Archford and all of us. And that, so when we get the Atlas test scores come in from third graders, we're testing them on April 13th, the first window. We will have their scores back in 48 hours.
Wow.
We will know the students that will need this intercession. We have to provide 5 weeks of intercession, and then there's a reassessment window. And I'm going through all the slides like I said I wasn't going to, but I want them to know that and it opens May 28th and it goes through June 30th. So any of those students after they've had the tutoring, then they can be retested, and if they pass then they won't be retained. So that's the essence of this plan. And so tonight we're bringing it to you as an information item, but it will come as an action item, because we'll be using Kids First, who we've used for our high impact tutoring, to provide that intercession tutoring during that time, and that's already been approved by the state. We just also want the board's approval.
So for clarity, they take the test. I'm a third grader. I take the test. I don't pass it. I'll know within 2 days. I don't pass it. Then I go through this intervention for 5 weeks.
Starts on April 20th.
And then I take the test again.
Correct.
If I don't pass it again, then I'm retained.
Correct.
That's right.
Where does the after school or the summer school, because if memory serves me, going to summer school was one of the ways to not be retained too.
So this happens during school, not during summer school. So that's why we've, is this on? I feel like it's not.
Ms.
This-
Langston, you want to explain how that was
Right.
some early information when this was
It's
coming
changed.
out, and that has changed, because it was, remember,
Right.
and you're right, there was a period of time, if you went to summer school, that'd be a good cause exemption, then they would, you
So
could go on. So that's now off the table.
So that's off the table.
Yep.
So basically, you want to pass it the first time, but if you don't, you get a second time. If not, then you'll
Correct.
be retained.
Correct.
Got it.
And if you pass the test, it does not count in your letter grade for the school. You get to move on, but you keep your original score. They don't erase your score.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, so if you scored higher, right, that would be advantageous to the school, but those scores aren't gonna go back to the school. So
It's just going to
you-
help
and-
them move on
it's
to
just
the
going to
next
help
grade.
them to move on to the next grade,
you-
but it's not going to help us
not gonna help
as
our
far as
letter
our
grade in
grade,
the
our
school.
letter grade.
Well,
Got it.
their calculation. And and this has been brought up a little bit. Do you want to just explain it? When we say pass, what does that mean? Because we're talking about level 1 students. You want to talk about level 2 versus a 3 or 4
I can go to
proficiency?
you want me to go to your slide?
You
on-
can.
Just to
So-
clarify when we say passing.
In order to pass, this includes both the reading section and the writing section. So those two are averaged together to receive a score of either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Passing would be considered a 2, 3, or 4, with a 2 being that you still have some deficits. A 3 or 4 would be considered proficient. So if you score a 1, truly you are not meant to go on to the 4th grade, because it shows that you don't have the skills necessary for literacy to pass that particular grade level. So the idea is to hold them back, to give them yet another year of foundational skills, so that when they do go on to 4th grade, in those grades you're not really teaching them things like phonics. They receive a little bit, but those things are mostly taught in K-3. So that's just another opportunity for them to get that instruction once again.
I'm just going to go to your slide so they can see from our, these are our projected numbers from just the winter interim assessment by building, just so you can see that. So in the fall, when we were talking to you about all this data, it looked like about 275 students, but now we're down to about 127 if you're going from our winter interim assessments, and then we'll take the actual test in April. And we're hoping that, I would love for us to be under 100 by the time we get to the actual retention. That's our
About
goal,
50.
and we'll see.
And remember, Dr. Stoll, I think in grade 3 we have 565 students, give or take.
We have 567 total third graders, if that helps.
It's a pretty good guess, though.
Yeah. So we do have a
500.
representative from Kids First here this evening. If you all have any questions for them, she is here to provide you those answers. But we've been using them for the entirety of this school year. We also used them for math in the previous school year, and we have really been impressed with the results. The teachers work well with the tutors, and they've had a lot of wonderful things to report. So we want to just continue what we've already had going on. So once we get those assessment scores in that week, we'll make the adjustments of the students who are in those groups. Some students may choose not to be retested. Their parents may choose for them to just go ahead and be retained and, you know, not put them through that experience of that retest after school is already out.
Mr. Taylor, do you have any questions?
Has any thought been considered about how are we going to communicate this to the students?
The mic, Mr. Taylor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we have viewers at home and they
Okay.
text me and say, I can't hear.
What's the plan when there are students that we have to retain? Has any plan or consideration or thought on that? How are we going to communicate that to make sure we keep that student and keep them going forward?
Keep them going, yes. So we've been communicating this to the students throughout the school year because they do take those interim assessments. So they're aware that they need to score a 2 or higher. They work with their teachers and principals to set a goal for the assessment that is upcoming, so they know how many points they need to score in order to get that 2 or higher. So it's not going to be any new information. They've been aware of it throughout the school year. And then once we have those scores in, we'll have a panel of people from each school who will take a look at those along with myself to make the decisions of who will be retained and then start alerting those families right away. Most parents will be sitting on ready, you know, from the time they take that test. They'll want those results.
And Carmen, can you tell them how many communications have already gone out to the parents that their students were in danger?
Yeah. So numerous, but every time we take an interim, they get a letter. We also have had phone calls happening. Anytime that they were eligible for things like the high impact tutoring, that was due to their results on Atlas, so it would be communicated that way as well. Our community Zoom night, it's still available on YouTube. All of those things, plus the print materials that we sent home, and I brought some extras today because I know not all of you were on the board then, but we had this nice pamphlet sent home to everyone, English and Spanish, at the very beginning of the school year so everyone knew the facts.
And I just wanted to add to that, Ms. Taylor, you want to maybe share with the board about individual reading plans
Sure.
and how important that is as another factor of communicating with students
Right.
and with parents about.
Right. So each student who is in need of support will get an individual reading plan, and their parent has access to that through the Atlas portal. So they're given a login, and they can go in and check that at any time throughout the school year. So the teachers are writing goals for what it is that the child needs to work on. Once they've met that goal, they'll check it off and add the next goal as they continue to work their way up towards grade level content.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ms. Scott?
As I looked at the projected numbers, I was trying to understand why we're doing 1 tutor per building when there's a distribution of need across different buildings. So like, for example, Amboy projected 25 students and then other buildings, you know, less than 5. So how are we determining how many tutors get placed at each building and why are we not sharing across buildings?
So even though we are going to be targeting those level 1s, after the Atlas, that tutor that is there will still be able to continue to work with the students that they have previously been working with. They can also begin to work with our second grade students, because the way that Kids First bills is basically by day. So it's not an hourly rate, it's a daily rate, and they consider it like one full day is a session. So they're going to be there the full day regardless. So they will be able to continue to work with, like I said, those second graders who are at risk, and we will know who those people are now.
Hey, I was just curious if it could also be possible that they drive to another school in the same day.
Yes, that's possible. We normally say a tutor can see 30 kids, 35. Is this one? Can I have this one? Yeah, okay. Hi, board. Usually 30 or 35 in a day, but if they're swapping campuses, we drop that number down because they need transit time. But some of our campuses are really close together,
Right.
like Lakewood and Crestwood, or Indian
Right.
Hills, or Glenview and Meadow Park are very close together. We need to calculate how many kids. So if we're looking at these numbers, and we know Glenview is 12 and Meadow Park is 21, we probably couldn't do 32
Right.
with splitting a day.
I mean, again, not to over-engineer it, but like my read on this was combine Lakewood and Crestwood and then
Absolutely.
send somebody to
We
Amboy.
could combine Lakewood and Crestwood.
I'm just curious, like, how does
That's really kind of
know?
the only place I see a clean combo
Okay.
where you're getting what you need. Another thing to think about is the state minimum for a high impact tutoring session is 30 minutes. When your numbers are lower, we can extend that to 45,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So kids are getting longer.
So like this, okay.
Yeah. So right now we're seeing as many kids as possible. We've maximized our schedule, and a lot of campuses are seeing that 35. I know North Rock 6 is seeing 40 in a day, which she comes in early and stays a little bit late, and all that. But if we can get these kids that are even more high critical than the ones that were identified in August, because now we're at the end of the year and we're still identified, if they can get more than 30 minutes, that would be beneficial.
Okay.
Yeah, but I see a benefit of combining Lakewood and Crestwood for sure.
It's just the first thing that jumped out to me is
Sure.
I think
allocating it
Many
based
times
you'll
on
want to
highest
ask
need,
those principals
Right.
too.
We'll be using our resources effectively
Right,
and efficiently.
right.
And I
where
will
they're
tell
needed.
you that our coaches, if they haven't had enough identified third graders, they fill those spots with second or fourth graders
Right.
that are also in need.
Yeah.
I know at Boone Park, our coach at Boone Park doesn't take a lunch. Instead, she pushes into a second grade classroom. So
Right. I don't doubt that
we
they're
don't
busy.
let our coaches sit. I
Yeah.
want you to know.
Yeah, I don't doubt that they're busy.
If you're looking at those service reports, there's not downtime.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm
by
just
design.
thinking about distribution of the pie.
Absolutely.
So-
Well, and to be frank, we are $14.75 a day, and
Right.
so if you can take a whole day out of those 5 weeks, then you'll, yeah, and you
Yeah.
can spread that out somewhere else, whether you want to add more days to another campus or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. McLean, any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Brown. I probably could have looked this up in the budget book, but it says the budget source is 6501. I can't remember what that is. Title 1. Thank you.
Ms. Temple, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Newsom?
Yes, I have one question about this. How does that work with the students when they're taken out of class? And I go back a little longer than I want to think of that I go back, but it was a little different. They would get, the kids were kind of ostracized, or is that something there? Is there accommodation to make sure that these kids are not, I don't want to say singled out, but that they're taken care of and they don't, how does that work when they are leaving for the intervention?
I'll say our students are pretty used to seeing kids come and go out of class because
Okay.
there's a multitude of reasons that kids get pulled out of class. So it's almost a revolving door throughout the day. You might be getting speech, OT, PT, they get dyslexia intervention. And then we also have like parapros in the buildings that will pull kids for extra help with their classwork. It could be math, it could be ELA. So it's not necessarily something that they're, I don't think, being singled out. Because it's just customary and business as usual.
Yeah, I just know that school is tough.
I would add the state has also set out pretty strict guidelines for high impact tutoring, and one of them is that the students have to be in a separate environment. So it can't be a push-in service. It can't be an inclusion service. It must be a pull-out at a table 4 to 1, no more than 4 to 1, for a minimum of 30 minutes. And that's very, very strict. And so that isn't something we can change, right? And I will say our coaches most of them are retired teachers, and they love being there, and the kids love being with them. I mean, our coaches are bringing pencils and erasers and just like happies and fun things. And often,
I want some intervention now.
I know, really.
Doing all this.
Often, and I started my career as an interventionist, but often if you're the fun person, you come to a classroom and everyone's like, "Can I go with you?"
Yeah, most of the kids are
Can I
asking to
go
go.
with you?
I've been an interventionist as well. They're like, "Can you take me today?"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's probably good, the attention. I do have one more question, and if that's okay, Madam President. We talked, you ladies weren't here last board meeting, but the principals came and gave reports, and absenteeism was such a big problem. And is that also what plays into this? And I'm asking as a new board member and learning, this is where we're having to deal with some of these issues where the rubber hits the road on it?
Yeah, it can. Both absenteeism and tardies can make a play into this. So as I met with each principal and we went through the list of students that were at risk, a lot of times I will hear them say things such as, he is a good candidate for retention because he has such high absences. You know, he hasn't been here to receive the instruction. So while that's not true for every student, it is true for some students, yes.
Okay. And I really like stickers, by the way, if that ever comes up again. So.
We'll remember that next time.
Ms. Barker?
I just went blank. Are these students falling in the 25% that we learned?
The bottom
Heard-
quartile.
Okay, so this is the 25%. The information you said that's going out to parents. What kind of response? I know it's going out. We know it may be received, but what kind of recognition, that acknowledgement of aware what's happening before it happens with
Well,
our parents?
They would have contacted those parents during parent-teacher conferences, both the first and the second. So they had to sign something called a homeschool agreement. So it outlines what the school is doing and then also what we're asking for you to do at home to support the child. So the teacher will give recommendations for how they can help at the house with reading.
Okay. And the other thing, and I think my cousin told us that answer. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I was just looking at when you said 1, 2 to 30 minutes, 3 days a week. And when you look at the number of students, just what the need is, it didn't seem, the math wasn't mathing for me to see that a kid was getting fidelity in their tutoring sessions and making sure that they would probably be ready for this test, you know, at the point we're at. And as well, so it's a program that's providing the tutoring, correct?
No, it's a live person.
It's a person.
But that's what I'm saying, but your
Kids
program,
first, yes.
Kids First.
We do not give our tutors a set program per se. We ask the tutors to work with the classroom teachers, and we provide standards-based instruction. So I wouldn't send a cohort of kids all through the same program when they have diverse needs. So all of our tutors are licensed educators in the state of Arkansas, and they all know how to read the standard and apply it. And so for North Little Rock, I'm your head coach, so I read all of their service reports. I'm the one who meets with them. We have lots of materials that are available to them. One of our biggest ones is called Win Workshop that we have, and the tutors can pull from that. But Ms. Langston and I also work closely together. I know about halfway through, Ms. Langston said, "Hey, I need you to go to my book room, and I need you to pull books that we already have, and I want kids holding books in their hands, and I want them citing text evidence." So immediately I call a meeting with all our tutors. The very next day, we're finding the book rooms, and we're pulling books. So another thing the state wants with high impact tutoring is that it works with your HQIM, so your curriculum you're already using, and that only comes with that partnership with the teacher. So it's a very diagnostic instead of pre-prescribed.
And I read your program, and it reads very well, but I just did have a curiosity with where our fiscal stance is. Why didn't we look at teachers to support some of the tutoring that's being brought in? Just want clarity on that.
I can probably answer
Okay.
that one. Because our teachers have got to stay in the classroom with the other students, our level 2s and our level 3s.
Right.
They can't be pulling groups because they're teaching. Like, this is going on while teaching is going on. So we don't have the staff to pull to do this tutoring and keep school running and going. So that's why we have to have, and the state does recommend that we use
So
an
this through
outside
the day,
source.
all through the day going on.
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's why I mentioned the North Rock 6 Academy, that coach comes in early, pulls a group because she knows those bus kids are there before the bell rings, and she stays late for the car riders. I mean, she's there bell to bell. I mean, all of them are, but she specifically is the one who pulls the most because she knows her kids need it. Another thing to know is the state was also very strict on who could provide this tutoring. And the state is putting the vendors through very rigorous grading and scoring, which they should, because last year a lot of school districts used vendors with great salespeople, but not great educators and didn't have the results. And so we are now required we're flagged, like every kid we touch is tied to us, and their result is tied to whether we get to be a vendor next year.
Gotcha.
And if a school were to decide to use in-house people for that, there was a whole different protocol, a whole different application process. You were going to have to go through their salary and split it. It was very cumbersome, and not many schools were successful with that. Their applications were denied.
So this is tied to the high impact grant that came out.
No,
This another one?
different.
The original.
The
original
It is the same
was,
group
yes.
doing
Okay,
it, but
I
it's
just
different.
remembered that.
And I failed to introduce Miss Maddie Barker,
Sorry.
and I'm sorry because she kind of joined.
I know.
But you may recognize her because she did work for North Little Rock,
my
so she
cousin.
knows our
Yes,
clientele
very
well.
proudly.
She was an assistant principal at Boone Park and also a teacher here.
Yeah.
So we're really lucky to have her because she does know North Little Rock and know our students well. So she's been a great asset to our team to work with. Sorry I didn't
No,
introduce
yeah.
you at first.
No, I only joined because Tori had a question. Yeah.
So do we have any idea where our students may land? Just as strong as you speak of, what's the program?
Kids first.
Kids First, as relates to being retained.
We have those projected numbers.
Those numbers right
Nevertheless,
This-
what we often see when we look at interim results, our students historically score higher on the summative than they did on the interims.
Correct.
It's because we finished this test at the end of February, so they've had more time in instruction until April 13th when they're tested. So typically, that number will go down just because they've had more instruction time.
Because when you mentioned the 200 and something, and now we're at this number, correct?
127.
127. So, okay. So we are
And
decreasing.
we're hoping it's going to be
So
less.
we praying for zero
Yeah, we are.
to be retained.
And if I may, Madam President, we don't want to leave out the acknowledgement of our third grade teachers. They are working their
Absolutely.
tails off when we go into schools. Also stress they know the accountability that's behind it, but you can see we're getting results from 275 down to 127, and I would anticipate but being half would be my goal, that we're down less to 60. If not down to 0 would ultimately be goal. But I want to thank our third grade teachers because they're really
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
really working hard, and a shout out to them and their support and coaches. Okay.
I just had two questions. IEP, how does that work on the elementary level as far as the students that are just,
I can do this
I
one.
mean, horrible test takers?
So an IEP alone is not a just cause exemption. So, but an IEP, if we can document that they've had 2 years of intervention, documented intervention with an IEP or a 504, then that is a just cause exemption. So they may still score a level 1, but they have an IEP, a documented disability, and 2 years. So if a student let's say we placed a student yesterday, they're not going to be a just cause exemption
Because it
because
has
they
to be
haven't
2
had that
years.
2 years. They have an IEP, but they haven't been in the program long enough to get those interventions. So they're really strict about, but it could be 2 years and 1 day. But
More
they
than
have
2.
to have anything more than 2.
Got it. That makes sense. And so a parent asked, I'm not a teacher, so you have to break it down. If a student is failing in class, but they pass the Atlas, they still pass to the next grade.
In all cases, retention is the building principal and the district's decision to make. So if they can see that they need to be retained, and that's something that they've been discussing with the parent, Atlas is tied to the law, but of course we always make decisions about our kids based on what we know about them.
Got it. I just wanted to say it because I got a message and I needed
Right.
the
Yeah.
community to hear it.
Sure.
Thank you. Good, great report.
Okay.
Well,
Great
I
job.
didn't
You're-
bring this big trophy up here for no reason.
I was wondering.
So, and by the way, I'm Carmen Langston. I didn't get to meet many of you last month because I was at the softball tournament with our Lady Wildcats. So, we are going to be recognized next week, and we are going to be recognize our winning school and students in our Read to Feed competition. It officially ends now, and our winning school is going to be Ridge Road Elementary.
Yeah.
So congratulations
Congratulations.
to them. Our school district had a goal of reading 250,000 minutes collectively from January 1st to now, and we have read over 750,000 minutes. So we really blew that goal out of the water that Beanstack helped us to create. So that is excellent news. And the majority of our readers are elementary students, although we opened up pre-K through 12th grade. So we will recognize our first, second, and third place winners who come from other schools. Ridge Road had the collective highest amount of minutes and students who were participating. So this was meant to be encouraging them to read more at home and at school. So we have a fifth grader from Lakewood Elementary who will be recognized as our first place reader. Our second place reader is a first grader from Lakewood Elementary as well. And I spoke to his dad today, and he said he loves reading so much now that we can barely get him to eat breakfast. We have to hide books from him and get him out the door to go to school.
Awesome.
And our third place winner comes from Crestwood, and she is a fourth grade student. So we'll recognize them as well as Ridge Road. And then we get to be recognized by Heifer International because we are now an ARC school district. Because we read more than 500,000 minutes, corporate sponsorships will donate the full ARC of animals in our name, in our honor, to community around the world who need help with food insecurity. So they'll get the ducks, the rabbits, the chickens, the water buffalo, the honeybees, everything that they offer will be donated in our name. And we'll receive a plaque on Thursday. So you all are welcome to join us at Ridge Road on Thursday at 1:45 if you would like to.
Can you tell them what they're going to do to the superintendent?
Oh, yes. So the Ridge Road principal and the first place reading winner will get to slime Superintendent Palufsky.
They get to do what?
They get to slime him.
I'm sure there's some adults that want to slime me too. So.
That's at 1:30, you say.
And then Ridge Road gets the honor and all bragging rights of the big cup. And then each of our first, second, and third place students will get their own individual trophy as well.
Awesome.
That's great.
So Ms. Lanks, they had to log their reading time into
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like an app, almost like Goodreads. If you've ever used that as an adult, it's sort of like Goodreads but for kids. So they are getting badges and things like that along the way as they log their minutes.
Good.
Awesome.
That's
Great.
awesome.
Great job.
Great job.
Good to see you
Thank
again,
you,
Ms.
guys.
Barker.
It's great to partner with
Oh,
you
he
guys.
said Ms. Barker. I said,
Yeah,
Good to see you too, Ms. Barker.
we're both so delightful.
that's right. That's right. Tell my cousin
Thank you.
Troy hello.
Our last informational item is construction updates.
Welcome, Colonel and the team. Our Nabholz friends. Colonel, just want to make sure we introduce everybody, please.
Madam Chair, Board, Scott Stanger, Chief of Staff, the Superintendent, and I have been honored to have the construction project given to me. You won't see that anywhere in a job title. So with this $120 million multi-year mother of all additional duties, basically what we want to do tonight is just give a very brief overview of the current project, which is the middle school. Somewhere down the road, Madam Chair, I recommend we do a deep dive into all the projects, but the middle school being the coin of the realm is the one that we're deeply involved with now. I'll quickly let everybody introduce themselves, and we'll roll it back, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, Billy Mayfield with Nabholz Construction, Senior Project Manager.
I'm Drew Westlake with Nabholz Construction. I'm the pre-construction manager for Nabholz.
And I'm James Meyer with Taggart Architects, and I'm one of the project architects on this.
I'm Brian Brown, CFO for the district.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just briefly, like I said, what we're gonna focus on for this is the current phase 1 of the middle school, which is otherwise known as the 7th, 8th grade building, and I will pass this on to James from Taggart, and he will go over, especially for the new board members, kind of where this thing started, the timeline through, and where we are right now. Then we'll go into, I'll let Nabholz go into a little more detail.
All right, great. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you. It's the people that's
I know.
online.
I normally fail at speaking in the microphone. I'm trying to get better. I had some good examples up here. All right. So we're going to try and work quickly here. This is a big project. It's very complex. I'm sure we will be back at a later date to go through it in further detail. But since this is ongoing and it's bid, we want you guys to have a good working level understanding of what the larger project is. So to get you started, this slide shows the existing campus, or the recently existing campus. So on the right is an aerial photograph. On the left is a diagram I'll walk you through real quickly. The red building is the theater building that has already been demolished. That's where the next school is going to go. We'll show you in a second. The existing 6th grade is at the top of the screen. That's the north. It's in light blue. The existing 7th and 8th grade building is at the bottom of the screen in the darker blue. And then the 2 gymnasium buildings are in orange on the left, and the cafeteria is in the gray just above those. And so when this whole project is complete, all of the buildings that are in red will be gone. So the only thing that remains will be the existing cafeteria. And so to work you through the phases of this phase is 1A. It's the demolition of the theater building. It has already been completed last fall. And so the preparation for the ground for this phase, 1B, the new 7th and 8th grade building, is already in progress. The bidding of the building has been completed. We are under budget. I'm sure these gentlemen will tell you a little bit more about it. But this phase is slated to be completed during the summer of 2027. At that point, we will take down the existing 7th and 8th grade building in the upper gym.
That's when
I
I
know.
cry.
Big deep breath, but it's a good thing. This is a good thing.
I don't understand. That was Northeast. That's my building.
I still have bricks for you in my trunk. So once those buildings are taken down during the summer of 2027, we will move on to the construction of the second phase, which will be the 6th grade building in the light blue, and then the gym, music, multi-purpose building that is in the orange. That will also serve as the storm shelter for this campus. So this campus will now have a storm shelter large enough and following all the governmental requirements for every student on the campus. So that's another big win. After that phase, we're going to do the final piece of demolition. We're going to take down the lower gymnasium and the 6th grade building, which are again shown in red. And then after that point in time, we will have some cleanup to do for the site. We will finish fixing the plaza in between the buildings, finish the western drive that doesn't exist now, but it will connect and make an easier way for buses to move around the building, and just kind of clean everything up and make it nice and pretty. So before I hand it off to the folks at Nabholz, do y'all have any questions for the architectural side of this?
Any questions to my right from anybody?
I'd like some bricks. I'm a Northeast graduate, so at least one or two.
We got more than
We
a
have
few.
lots.
But I've seen the work over there. I went by, so. You find a shoe, that's mine.
It's all right.
From track.
My mother was a Northeast grad too, so I get yelled at when every building goes down. So.
It was hard watching the auditorium, and it's really going to be hard watching the main building.
It's progress, man.
Any questions to my left?
When will the insides of the buildings be designed, and who will be contributing to that process?
So the interior design has been completed as
Okay.
the identification of materials. That's all been vetted, priced, and it's in the construction piece.
Okay.
Through the process, we've met with board members, we've met with the principals of the schools, and I think that's part of the intended deep dive that Colonel Stanger mentioned, that when we come back to you guys, we're going to walk through all of those decisions made. And if there are some minor tweaks or modifications, as long as we're still in the right phase of construction, we can talk about that.
And what timeline will that be? Like, when is it too late to make changes?
So it depends on what we're trying to change. If we're just changing the color of something, functionally, we can change it up till
We're
16
done.
weeks before it gets installed.
If we're changing the
Okay,
color,
so-
I think at this point,
Right.
that's on them. Because there were
Yes.
some concerns that
Layout
we had had.
materials, that ship has sailed.
Okay.
Colors.
I'm just trying to get caught up to speed.
Color schemes, yeah.
And thinking about leadership, you know, the middle school plans and all these
We
things.
took that into
Yeah.
we took all that into consideration, and then went back and re-looked at after reorg, and
Okay.
it all fits. But we made it flexible enough that if we had to do that, we thought it might be coming, and so we incorporated that into the plan. That has
Okay.
come to fruition. But as far as the only thing really available to haggle over at this point is the color scheme
Okay.
and FF&E.
What about, and then I'll pass, but there's concept and then reality, right? Lots happens between
Correct.
then and now.
Sure.
Like, what are the checkpoints for verifying design and then the truth of the construction? Like, who's involved in that process of going in and checking and making sure that?
For clarification, in which way that it's going to actually look like what was presented? So in modern construction, it's much closer to a given than it's been historically, right? So
Okay.
we don't just do lines on papers anymore. I build a 3-dimensional model that you can go walk through like it's a video game.
Yeah.
And so these guys have it out on their trailers, not all just big books of drawings. Like
Right.
it's a model on an iPad. So we can tell you within, 95% plus degree of accuracy of what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like. And so we have a video, we have software, we can walk you through, again, like I said, like it's a video game. And so, you will know how it's going to feel before it happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have done that,
Mhm.
and then that's why I recommend a deeper dive somewhere in the future, because we can present
Okay.
that to the board, and you can watch it all like you're walking down the hallway.
Yeah.
And ask any questions and see where what we're showing you now and where it's going.
Yeah, I know I said one more, but I'm gonna give it one more. For full transparency, I'm married to an electrician, so I'm fully equipped with the understanding of how modern graphics look. But I'm just trying to understand, like, as the project goes on, inevitably issues will encounter issues, scope will increase or decrease, right? Like, just where are the checks along the time frame between design to us occupying the building in summer of 27?
Gotcha. Yes, ma'am. And I think Nabholz will speak on it a little bit more
Okay.
here. But we have biweekly owner-architect-contractor meetings
Okay.
where we go through all these
You
things.
guys
We
do.
check all
Yeah.
of our changes that have happened, unexpected things, expected things. And then along with every month, we'll get a pay app, and we'll know what each division of construction has been done, how much has been completed in percentage-wise, how much has been billed, how much is yet to bill.
Monthly.
And we'll track all of
It's-
contingency uses, all changes, all that good stuff.
It is monthly, and it goes through a multi-check system. So,
Okay.
ma'am, what I didn't mention is, other than the fact that I've got this day job, and I don't have a construction license, I'm not an engineer or an architect. What we did in our previous construction, we did the same thing as this. We have hired and contracted out an owner rep. So basically, we went out and bought a smaller construction company,
Okay,
and they do our day-to-day business, and they work for us.
okay,
We love these guys, but they don't work for them.
right.
And so through pay apps and everything else, they go through as the owner rep through the walkthroughs for construction. They're at every OAC meeting. They review every pay app that comes from Nabholz to Taggart to before we sign a check, or before really Brian does. They go through the whole thing with their eye to say, yes, this makes sense, or no, it doesn't.
And who are those people? Owner rep?
Shields and Associates.
Okay, thank you.
And on top of that, we have an internal QA/QC process that is all
Okay.
logged in a software called Procore,
Yep.
which this team all has access to that. And so that gets double checked before any pay app or any on-site inspection from the architect team.
And Mr. Brown and I have it. Shields and Associates have it, so we
Okay.
watch it update live. Also, kind of the newest thing this week that we have Genesis put cameras out there for us. We are working through the
Awesome.
process to put the link into our site. Once we get that up and running, if you're so inclined, you can watch it in real time.
Okay,
It moves awfully slow, but if you want to watch construction in real time, now you can go out there and watch it.
And I think the other thing, Ms. Scott, that the board had requested is, that's why we have a construction update during every single meeting.
Right.
Whether it's a workshop or that, so if we want to make sure that you're informed If there's something that's a problem, we're going to bring it to you. If something that needs to be approved, we also is another reason we utilize our weekly board report. That's another good way to continue to keep board, informed. And now that I know your husband's an electrician, we'll make sure we get you the electrical grid.
Yeah, he'll love the shout out. I'm just excited, very excited for the middle school. I also went to East Campus, but don't have a lot of sentimental attachment. I'm ready for the new building. But I'm just cautiously watching, right, as it unfolds. So that's why my line of questioning. Thank you.
Since you said the East Campus, you're still young.
I know,
I'm not
I'm
talking
dating.
East
Yeah.
Campus. I'm
Northeast.
talking Northeast.
Yeah.
Senior high school.
We're talking about high school.
Home
I
of
know,
the Chargers.
I know. Hence why I'm okay with it.
Anything else, gentlemen, you want to?
I don't know.
Yep.
The next slide.
Yeah, go ahead. So we just wanted to go back.
Their control of it now.
Oh, okay. So we just wanted to update the new board members on kind of the layout that we have out there, where our construction fence is. You've probably been out there and been by it and seen it, but you can see on the that would plan south or the east side of the campus. There is where our job site trailer is with our laydown area and yard with the fence, and then you can see in the red is where the buses come and drop off the students, and then we have our teacher parking there in front of the 7th and 8th grade building, and then over by the tennis courts is overflow, and then the teacher parking on the 6th grade in front of the 6th grade, and then we have overflow parking that we put in there in a gravel lot there. So that's kind of the layout of how the construction's going right now. So
Yeah, I think we talked about in our interview, when we were selected for this project, that safety is of the utmost importance.
Yeah.
Again, we're trying to separate construction activities from day-to-day campus activities. We understand how important that is, and that's the approach that we're going to take through every phase of this project. That's our promise that we can give to you.
So the schedule's really tight as far as the daily schedule. Deliveries are not made when the buses are running. When testing comes up, construction slows way down. And then obviously during the summer months, it's pedal to the metal. But even daily schedules are synchronized with the schools because it's still an active campus.
I have to say, as a parent, because I pick up at the middle school every day, I like the bus route and how that's all working out. If we can end up keeping it some kind of way, because it's functioning, it's working well.
It's actually going to be pretty similar when this is all said and done.
My only thing is, I've said it before, we've got to do something about that sign, because what backs up, and it's not you guys' fault, but when you're building and you're thinking about it and you're talking to the city, people still turn left when they're not supposed to, and it backs up traffic.
So we're trying to get a hold of the city engineer right now and have those conversations. Yep.
That's it.
yeah, so schedule-wise, the next slide. So James kind of stole a little bit of my thunder there on that. But,
Sorry.
but right now, schedule-wise, the pad is in. Right now, we're doing underground stormwater and main water lines, and then we're also putting in the underground, the footings that are going in for the steel. And the steel will be coming in May. So you'll start seeing some vertical construction in May.
Awesome.
And so on the budget side of things, I do want to talk about, just like the design integrated a lot of the school district personnel, the budget was not made in a vacuum, right? There were constant updates between the Colonel, Shields, the design team. Dr. P was involved on the early stages. And I'm proud to say after this first phase is we're tracking under budget on the middle school project.
Yeah, so, yes, Dr. Redis, when you have time, I have change order number 2. And change orders used to be the bane of my existence, but I'm really liking Nabholz because both change orders we've got have saved us significant money. So just for instance, the guaranteed maximum price on this was originally $29.4 million. It is coming at $27.7.
Awesome.
So now we've got some extra contingency funds, and we'll keep monitoring that as we go. And each one of these phases will, I'm hoping, will have something like this. That
right.
yeah. So budget-wise, we're in the black, which is a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and a lot of credit goes to the design team and us integrating with them on the front end to develop a clear path forward to an achievable budget.
Okay.
And it's crucial, and y'all did a great job of selecting CM on the front end so that process could be fully taken advantage of.
Awesome. I'm just ready for the color talk.
It's coming.
I just want my brick.
It's coming. Okay.
One last note, I told Colonel this, any of the board members who want to come by our office and individually look at things in detail in a longer format, my time is yours. You can get our contact from anyone
Yeah,
with
I'd
the
like to do
district,
that.
reach out. We love having people come talk about stuff. We kind of like buildings, so please feel welcome.
And if you want to come out on site, just swing by the job trailer to make sure you get your PPE so everybody's safe.
Personal protection.
Yes. Hard hats, gloves, vest.
Got you. Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
y'all.
Thank you.
All righty. That concludes the workshop. Therefore, I call this meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Rhonda. Uh-oh. I call the meeting to order and she's not here yet.
Hang on. She should have been monitored. Could you grab her real quick, Colonel? Okay. Out of there. Over here.
That was the workshop.
Yeah.
I
Covered
went
a
back
lot.
in there.
Covered a lot in an hour. Good.
Oh, this is a special meeting. Hi, Rhonda.
All right.
You ready for roll call, Ms. Rhonda? Here.
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 Thank you. The first item on the agenda is public comments. Per Arkansas Code 6-13-619 and according to Act 902 of 2025, citizens who desire to speak during public comment must sign in prior and will be called to the podium. Speakers must meet one of the following criteria according to Act 902 and listed on the sign-in sheet: reside within the school district, be a parent or legal guardian of a student in the district, or be employed by the district. Public comment is not a question and answer period, and as such, school board members and the superintendent do not respond to public comments during a meeting. While we do encourage you to speak respectfully and professionally, further, citizens will have no more than 3 minutes to speak and will not be allowed to make comments that shall prejudice the board of directors concerning student or personnel matters that could come before the board for disciplinary or employment considerations, or that is in conflict with other district policies or laws. Further, public comments that include slanderous remarks about school district employees or that would violate the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act are strictly prohibited. Personally identifiable information, discussion of a student's educational record, or reference to students' directory information is not permitted during public comment period. Speakers who violate these guidelines will receive a single warning and be respectfully asked to redirect their remarks. Should the speaker continue in violation, the board president will end the speaker's time and move on to the next individual. If the public comments go beyond 30 minutes, the board may require all public comments to go beyond those 30 minutes and are not about matters that are on the meeting's action items agenda to be held after the other agenda items. And we should not go over 30 minutes because we have 3 people. The first one, will you time for me, please? The first is Miss Kim Stanley.
I apologize how fast I'm about to read to you guys.
No, you are fine.
Good evening. I'm Kim Stanley, and I teach at the high school. I'd like to share my concerns about the proposed bell schedule for next year. I, along with many of our teachers in the building, care deeply about improving academic performance and strengthening our schools. But I'm concerned that the current proposed moves that we are proposing go the opposite direction of what the administrative stated objectives for teacher retention and student success. If we are already struggling to meet current expectations, cutting our prep time in half will inevitably disadvantage both students and staff. Education moves in cycles, and having witnessed many of those firsthand here in North Little Rock, a clear pattern emerges. Too often, instead of pursuing innovative solutions, we return to strategies that have already proven ineffective. This proposed schedule is not new. Reverting back to this strategy is a step backwards for our entire building. In 2017, the 7-period day was a major struggle with the 2 lunch shifts we had. Even now with 3 lunch shifts, regularly we see students that come late to class simply because they can't get through the cafeteria line in time. Moving towards a schedule that further complicates the lunch configuration is a significant concern. Furthermore, high school and elementary schools have distinct needs. Forcing them on the same framework is fundamentally flawed. This one-size-fits-all approach is unlikely to improve students' outcome or teacher retention. We need strategies that respect the unique challenges of the high school environment. Beyond logistics, we have concerns about the quality of education we can provide. With core teachers likely responsible for over 150 students, meaningful feedback and one-on-one tutoring is nearly impossible, regardless of the extra compensation. This shift threatens the very programs that draw students to our campus, including concurrent enrollment and specialized electives like STARS. The increased daily workload of 8 classes will likely discourage students from taking the demanding AP classes. Our campus layout makes 6-minute passing periods very difficult. I invite any of you to come walk from A Tower to K Tower during class changes in that time frame. Adding more daily transitions sacrifices instructional time and increases safety and security in our building. We understand that the prior objectives behind this proposed schedule change is to optimize our workforce and to enhance student success. However, we're concerned that this 8 periods will fall short of these goals. There are several critical factors that we think should still be examined. Where does the student intervention time fit in? How will IEP conferences be managed effectively without this, with this shortened time frame? On block scheduling, missing 1 day is significant, but in an 8-period day, students miss all classes. Electives will be compressed, and dance, theater, band, construction, stagecraft will lose depth and quality. How will any of this support student success? We urge the board and the administration to please reconsider this bell schedule and seek alternative solutions on collaborating with your experienced and your dedicated faculty who serve your goal for the student success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanley.
Mr. Lemon.
I'm back. I'll keep it short. Here for the gay book ban, again, for the new members of the board. Brought the book back. This is one of them, so different families. A bit of a cold, my throat might give out. Tia has 2 dads, both put her to bed, both wake her up. So this is one of the books that was banned. Again, the only way you could ban this is if you think gay people are offensive, they shouldn't be seen, they shouldn't be there. That doesn't make sense. If I was a gay parent, I could go into school with my child. That wouldn't be offensive. This is not offensive. So that's why I'm pushing it. You're not voting on it today, so I'm patient, very patient. Been here since November. Quickly, a couple other things. I sent you guys the visualization of the data. I'm hoping it's helpful. Let me know if you want more out of it. I can do more. I'm an AI engineer. I can equip you guys with like Claude, GoWork, AI tools to parse the data. Let me do that. You have my email, yeah, my phone number. It's hard, it's a new world. I can tell you, seriously, since November when the new models came out, they're amazing. Seriously, you can parse through the raw data. If you are overwhelmed by the amount of data in front of you, especially the new board members, you should be using AI as a tool for your exploration. It's great for that. Verify everything at the end, but that's how you parse through giant amounts of data. And you need to see the raw data, because if you get it from the administration, they're selling you a story. They should sell you a story, but you need to come at it from a different angle, and so you have to look at the raw data. So I'm asking you to do that. One last thing, I'll send an email. I said this before, my daughter can't join preschool. I did find the links. If I'm above 200% of the poverty level, can't go. I want my daughter to join the same cohort that she's going to join in kindergarten, and she can't do that. There's no path. I don't know if it's a grant restriction. I don't know if it's just we haven't done it yet. I would love for that to change if it can, but that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am also here to talk about the potential schedule change. I think Ms. Stanley brought up a lot of really incredible points that I absolutely agree with, but I just wanted to share a little bit more about my personal perspective. So I am a 9th grade physical science teacher and a part of the Freshman Academy. This is my 4th year teaching, all of which have been at North Little Rock High School. I love science. It was my desire to share my love of science with my community that drew me to teaching. Every year, without fail, from the first day to the last, I always have students ask me, when are we going to blow something up? And the answer to that is never, but labs are what makes science unique. It's an opportunity for our students to engage with our content hands-on. It provides memorable experiences that many of us probably think fondly about from our school days. While planning and executing labs takes additional time and requires purchasing supplies, it is my and my students' favorite thing that we do. Seeing my students actually do science and make connections in real time brings me so much joy. When I ask my students at the end of the year what they enjoyed most, they always say one of our labs. With block scheduling, we are able to perform complex labs that allow students to truly ask questions and explore the answers to them. So this year, we were able to complete one of the labs that I'm the most proud of. Students investigated 5 unknown white powders and identified them based on their physical and chemical properties. It was an opportunity for them to finally do real science. Wearing goggles and aprons, they were able to interact with dangerous chemicals, under supervision, of course. Afterwards, I had teachers tell me that they heard students talking about how cool it was for days. If we make the switch to 40-minute classes, these types of activities become impossible. We would be robbing our students of one of our greatest learning opportunities. In order to conduct a lab safely, there must be plenty of time to set up, conduct experiments, and clean up afterwards. I'm not sure I can express how much disappointment the entirety of the science department will feel if we lose time to do labs. Science is a truly interdisciplinary subject. We use math for real-world scenarios, write formally and informally, and learn about science's history and future. Please consider how this change will affect all of the types of classes that we offer at North Little Rock. I hope that you will reflect on what I've shared when you make any sort of decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are down to action items. We have 1, 3rd grade retention plan, vendor approval.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we accept the 3rd grade retention plan as presented by Dr. Stoll.
Second.
It has been properly moved in second that we approve the 3rd grade retention plan vendor approval that was presented to us. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. The next is executive closed session. Executive closed session per North Florida School District Policy 1.14A stating that private or closed discussions by the board may occur as part of a regular or special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purpose of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment if requested by the parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in public session and presents the item for the vote of the membership. In addition to the persons permitted to be present at an executive session under the Freedom of Information Act of 1967, 25-191, the attorney of the school district may be present at an executive session of the board of directors. Finally, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 106(2)(c)(1) states the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. Please join me in the executive closed session for discussing the following: employment, appointment, promotions, demotions, disciplining, or resignation of an employee. We are back in session. Is there a motion?
Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for employment of personnel as discussed in executive session.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that we approve the 2026, 2027 employee contracts. There we go. Okay.
Employment and personnel first.
Oh, I see. I had to scroll back up. I'm sorry. It has been properly moved and second that we approve the employment of personnel that's discussed in closed session. Being that it is employment of personnel, there can be no discussion. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Now we're down to 2026 employee contracts. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation that we approve the 26-27 contracts as discussed in executive session.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that we approve the 2026, 2027 employee contracts. Again, being that it is employee contracts, there can be no discussion, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Is there a motion to go home?
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
A second.
It has been properly moved and second that we adjourn. Is there any discussion about it?